Fred?
Okay, let me just, I got my push here. Yeah, I call to order the regular board meeting of the Board of Education on April 25th, 2024 at 6:32 p.m. in the boardroom of Oak Park Rural Forest High School. Please call to roll.
Mr. Brisbane?
Here.
Dr. Maharaj? Here. Mr. Arkin?
Here.
Ms. Williams Lee? Here. Dr. Livingston? Mr. Brandhorst?
Here.
Mr. Kosky?
Okay. Move to enter closed session for the purpose of discussing the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel for the district and independent contracts and specific volunteers, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this Act 5 ILCS 120/2C1. Collective negotiating matters between the districts and its employees or their representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. Same act. Act 5 ILCS 120/2C2. Litigation when an action affecting or on behalf of a particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or an administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for that finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. 5 ILCS 120/2C11 and discussion of the minutes of discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes mandated by section 2.06.5 ILCS 120/2C21. Is there a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Dr. Maharaj?
Yes.
Ms. Williams Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Brisbane?
Yes.
Mr. Brandhorst?
Yes.
Dr. Livingston?
Yes.
Mr. Arkin?
Yes. our guests. We are going to reconvene into open session. And our first order of business will be our student showcase.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so give me a second here. Sorry, I have a First up is recognition of our boys swim program. So let's turn it over. Nicole, am I turning it over to Clyde or?
Me first.
All right.
All right, thank you, everybody. Tonight, we have with us our state qualifiers for boys swim and dive. Before I introduce our head coach, I just want to point out, and he's gonna be embarrassed that I did it, but our coach, Coach Clyde Lundgren, was actually voted on by schools participating in our sectional meet to the Illinois Swimming and Diving Association Sectional Swimming Coach of the Year. So let's start by giving it up to Coach. This time I'm going to bring our sectional coach of the year up to introduce his athletes.
All right.
Good evening. Thank you for having us here. You guys are. I'm a sectional coach of the year for swimming, not for public speaking. So bear with me here as I muddle through these remarks, but we're here to pay tribute to the boys. I'm gonna have them each come up, but before I want to just have a few remarks about some highlights that I feel like are worth sharing. First was the last home meet was senior night. And as you know, the pool is going to be torn down, groundbreaking June 4th, right? Be there, set your calendars. And that night was special because any pool record that was set was never going to be broken. And 4 of the boys here put up a medley relay mark that will is indelible. They can't be broken. There's Pablo Pareja, Adon Budraza, Lars Roche, and Will Keys. They did a medley relay pool record. And then Pablo Pareja later in the meet broke his brother's 100 backstroke record, also can't be broken. So kind of a highlight there. A couple more things. Second was at the sectional meet, we advanced 1 swimmer in every one of the swimming events, which was an achievement that we had never accomplished before. Back in 1998, we won a state champion, and even that team didn't do that. So kind of a neat thing. And then carried forward to the state meet. Everybody scored. So it was a total team effort. They combined with their efforts on relays. Everybody scored points for the team effort, and they will all likely come home as All-Americans. So it's a great group of guys. Not only are they great swimmers, they're even better people. So I'm going to turn it over to them, the fellows that are here. There's 7 total that went. I think we got about 4 or 5 or 6 of them here. So they're going to introduce themselves and share a couple of remarks. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, hi, I'm a junior. My name is Will Keys. Something I learned from swimming this year that applies to a lot of different things, I think, is that the more you put into something, the more you get out of it. And I just noticed that across my school, across sports, and across a bunch of different things that I do. I just noticed that theme reappearing in a lot of different ways. And I think something that I really enjoyed this season, of course, you know, senior night, breaking that pool record was pretty special. Going to state's always awesome, but honestly, my favorite memory of the year was pulling up the state in our bus and seeing the 15, 20 people waiting in line that had been there since 8 in the morning before we even woke up to get a good seat to support us. It's pretty cool, for sure.
Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Wood. I'm a senior this year, so this was my last season. Like Will, I want to share something I've learned throughout my many years of swimming. And while I have learned the importance of hard work and dedication, I think one thing that surprised me that I learned was the importance of teamwork and camaraderie. I think that, like, sort of along the way, swimming has always been this individual sport. It's your race, you know. It's not like a team. Well, it is a team sport, but it's not like, oh, you're all playing and working together to score a goal of some sort. But really, just as much as any other sport, the importance of being more to your teammates and really making a connection with them has just like struck me like I was so surprised by it. I mean, many of my friends, if not all of my friends, are swimmers now, and I would have never expected that. And so really what I learned is that teammates can be teammates, but they can be much more than that too. And then I'd also like to share one of my favorite memories, and I think this is pretty poignant because my favorite memory is also my last memory swimming. And that was my last swim at state finals on a Saturday, and it was a bittersweet moment because it was my last swim ever. I'm done after this, but at the same time, I was able to look back and smile and be happy because of how far I'd come, and to just look back at all the memories, and I'll always remember that moment. So yeah.
I'm Grady, and I'm a senior. So something I've learned from swimming, like all the other guys, has been a sense of leadership and like the impact that leadership has on someone. So whether I'm the one leading or someone's leading me, like I can see how big of an impact that is. Like coming up as a freshman and seeing people who inspire me to do better and do better things. And then when I was actually a senior and when I was seeing like how those people that led me at first showed me what it was like to be a leader, and then I could do the same thing for other people. And then also another favorite memory for me would be just every day with the swim guys, and they're my best friends. It's the best what you can ever do. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Adon Pedraza. I'm a senior. And I'd say my favorite memory this year is definitely senior night when we were able to take down that record. And it's kind of just because the atmosphere there, it was electric, and the whole team really like came together. It wasn't just the guys on the relay who were just going for that record, and it wasn't just us cheering. It was just a moment with the whole team where we're all supporting ourselves. And I'm having like freshmen come up to me, congratulate me, and say good luck at time, great job at time. So that was really a great experience for probably my favorite in my 4 years of swimming for this team. And then something that I learned, especially this year, just the importance of surrounding yourself with a good group of people. I swam alone for a little bit at the beginning of this season, just preparing for a meet, and it was just completely different from swimming with these guys and having teammates to push you, teammates to cheer you up when you're down. The results are completely different. You have much better time when you have the right people around you, much more productive. And that's something I'll take into tonight's chapter of my life. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Jack Murphy. I'm a freshman. Going into high school swim season, I wasn't really sure about it, but I have to say it's like one of the best experiences I've ever had. Like Brady and Don were saying, and everybody else, it's just like I've made so many friends this season, and I would have never expected it to be such a like great experience and so good that it's been. And it's just like it really helps. It's a great community, and it helps like build respect for other people in you. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who, all the people I swim with that helped me get through practices. And yeah.
Hi, my name is Pablo Breja. I'm a junior. My favorite memory from swimming at OPF is probably like Adon senior night. The atmosphere was really unmatched. Just everybody was congratulating us, and that was probably the most motivated I've ever been to swim. But one thing I've learned from swimming is the value of like having a team, because suffering through those brutal sets that Clyde gives us is just so hard. But like with your team there, it makes it so much easier, and the spirit is always high. And yeah, I've really enjoyed my time on this team, and I can't wait till next year.
Nicole, does that cover our athletic recognitions for today?
That does. Thank you guys very much, and thank you for your continued support. I'm very excited to see what we're doing in the future with our new facilities, because if we're this successful now, I can only imagine what where we'll be like in 2 years. So thank you guys all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fine. And, oh, great. I'll turn it over. Next up is Art Club and APR. No.
APR. Right, so our second showcase tonight, comes from the area of academics, and on behalf of the Department of Student Learning, I am going to present the two teachers that are here tonight, Ms. Belle White and Ms. Lindsay Major, and they're gonna come talk about the, AP, Art History AP Studio Art Trip to New York City, so come on up.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Major. I'm a fine arts teacher here. I had the privilege of teaching AP Art History at OPRF. This past March, we took 35 students along with Val White and Tracy Van Dynen to New York City to be able to see all of the artwork that they were learning about firsthand. To not only kind of be able to interact with it, but prepare for their AP Art History exam that's coming up in just over 2 weeks. So to speak on behalf of the trip, we actually have 2 students here that would like to tell you how the trip really benefited them and enhanced their academic understanding. So I'd like to just continue.
Hi everyone, my name is Ada Truitt-Schreiber and I'm a senior here at OPRF. And I'm in the AP Art History class, surprise. It has been the best class I've taken at this school, hands down, alongside field learning. So I am committed to American University in DC, and I actually plan to double major in art history and critical race and gender studies. And my AP Art History class finalized my decision to major in art history because of how much I love the class and the subject, and going to New York City with the class. So on our trip to New York City, we went to 4 different art museums in just 3 days. So that's crazy. We went to the Met, we went to the Guggenheim, the Brooklyn Museum of Art, and the MoMA, or the Museum of Modern Art. And I was able to see all the pieces that I and my classmates have been studying for months in person. And it is so different to see them in person than to just look at them from a screen, because you can see the texture. A lot of artists actually paint one thing on the canvas and then paint over it. It's just a totally different experience. So the trip to New York City not only allowed me to have an unforgettable experience with my classmates and teachers, but it prepared me in an entirely new way for the AP Art History test, which, like Ms. Major just said, is very soon. So seeing the artwork in person really just helped me understand it more. And it also, so many of the artworks that we saw at these museums are actually on the test and pieces that we've studied. So that is amazing. And I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity that I had to go on this trip, because it was my favorite experience I've had at this high school in my 4 years. So I would first like to thank the Oak Park Scholarship Foundation and the board for agreeing and funding part of the trip, because that was amazing. We initially weren't sure if it was going to happen or not, and everybody was like, oh my God, we really want it to happen, but we're not sure if it's gonna. And it happened for the first time since COVID, which is great. Because again, we were all nervous, and all of my classmates and I and all the teachers really wanted to happen. We were so happy that it did. And I would also like to thank all of the chaperones, so Miss White, Mr. Van Dynen, and Miss Major, who is a first-year OPRF teacher and is an incredible art history teacher. I feel so prepared by her, and I'm actually kind of excited for the test, weirdly, which I guess is a good thing because I'm majoring in art history. So I implore all of you to continue allowing this trip to happen, because it is genuinely, like I said, the best thing I've ever experienced through this school. And for later on, let's keep the equity policy in place, because racial equity is very important.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nora Butterly. I'm a junior in AP Art History. Along with Ada and 34 of my peers, I went to the New York City trip. I've always loved history and art in general, so I was excited to hear that OPRF was offering this class, and I never expected to enjoy it as much as I did, so much that I'm considering studying it in college and continuing my study. The New York City trip was incredible. It was an experience that I'm forever grateful to have, because it
we were able to not only experience the art in person that we're studying, but more art that I've never even heard of, cultures and art that not only we study, but beyond our curriculum. And it was incredible to be able to see all the pieces in person. Like Ada said, you can't really fully understand a piece of artwork through a picture. To be able to see three-dimensional pieces was incredible and enhanced our understanding of the culture and for the AP test, which was amazing. It was also great to be able to attend the four museums that we went to, because they're very well known and they're very well curated. To be able to experience that, it's a glimpse into a career that I'm considering. Like I said, I'm considering continuing my study of art history in college. So to be able to go to museums and experience what that life is like, what that career is like, I think was very beneficial. Also, like Anna said, it was an experience I think is one of the best memories I have here at OPRF. Going with my peers, having that energy and having that passion that we all have for art, going to New York City, experiencing kind of the art life there was amazing. And it was, nothing I've ever experienced before. So to be able to understand all of that for the AP test, but also for my future was definitely something beneficial and something I'm very, very grateful for. Yes, so that's basically all I had to say, and I know that, sorry. And I know that, like Ada said, it was kind of a rough time during the time period when we didn't know if it was happening or not. And I know that cost might have played a big role into that, and I felt that if future classes had to fundraise for that, I think that is something they would be willing to do if cost is always a hesitation. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to student council.
No, I was just gonna say.
I saw her yesterday and I thought she
Yes, I
was.
saw her yesterday. Senioritis must be a real thing. She is not here. So I'll give you a quick update off the top of my head. Student council is starting their elections next week. They will be voting, the students were an advisory today, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders were sent videos of the students running. Nora, who just came up here, is running for one of our positions. So that's the student council report.
Next is superintendent announcements.
Okay, I have a few announcements for everybody here. First, I invite everybody to attend the OPRF Community Block Party on Sunday, May 19th from 1 to 4 p.m. in the OPRF Mall, right in the middle of our campus, west side of the building. This is the culminating event to celebrate our 150th anniversary this year, and it will feature fun for all ages. Legendary alumni band, the Jade 50s, will perform. Some of our student clubs will be leading family-friendly activities. Local food trucks will sell food, and the new track will be open for all to enjoy. So please join us. And again, in case you missed that, it is Sunday, May 19th from 1 to 4 p.m. I also have several pieces of science news. First, congratulations to Amelia Hammersley, who made OPRF history by being the first Husky chosen to participate in the highly prestigious and competitive Regeneron International Science and Engineering Fair. This is the world's largest pre-college STEM competition and will be held in Los Angeles in mid-May. Amelia will compete for significant monetary awards, and we wish her all the best luck. Additionally, 3 Huskies were the only high schoolers in the state selected to give oral presentations at Illinois State Academy of Sciences' prestigious university level competition. Even more impressive, Abby Falkoff, Noah Campbell, and Ann Cloud each secured first place in their categories at the undergraduate level. Abby in health science, Noah in microbiology, and Ann in engineering and technology. An incredible achievement. Congratulations, Huskies. In addition, Abby Falkoff took second place at the Positive Impact Science Symposium, and in a first for an OPRF freshman robotics team, Nate Kane, Anderson Langfield, Yaroslav Rozbudiuk, Cy Caniff, Alex Disico, and Oliver Dubé qualified to compete at the recent state competition. So congratulations, Huskies, there as well. Congratulations to senior Maxine Gimbel for being selected by Carnegie Hall as one of the 103 teen musicians in the 2024 National Youth Orchestra of the United States of America. The orchestra will perform at Carnegie Hall on August 5th, then embark on a tour of South America. Quite impressive. Congratulations to senior girls wrestler Sarah Epstein for being named the 2024 Girls Scholastic Wrestler of the Year by the Illinois Wrestling Coaches and Officials Association. The award is in recognition of excellence both in the classroom and on the mat. Congratulations, Coach. Congratulations to Husky artist Jessica Lee for her accolades at the 2024 Chicago Scholastic Art and Writing Awards, known as the nation's most prestigious program for creative teams. Her Gold Key winning paintings will advance to the National Scholastic Art Competition. And congratulations to the OPRF Boys Track Team, which competed at the Indoor Classic State Championship in March. Caden Garland emerged as the state champion for shot put, setting a new personal Illinois record with a throw of 62 feet, 8.75 inches, ranking him 11th in the United States. In addition, Gigi Oseyaba placed second in the long jump, and Caleb Schultz took second in the 200-meter dash. And Nicole, I'm going to put you on the spot because, why don't you come up to the podium if you could? You called me today because you told me something you know I'd love to hear. We have a event that we didn't know we were going to be able to have in just a few days here.
So we have been waiting for the arrival of all of our track equipment to complete our outdoor project. Happy to say that we received that last week. Our maintenance was amazing in putting that together promptly for us, allowing us to host our very first track meet that the class of 2024 will be able to participate in, which I'm happy to say, on Monday after school. So if you're around, we invite you to attend. We were able to put that together, and we're very, very excited for our inaugural meet on our new track.
Home track meet at OPRF, I just got goosebumps. It's great news. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you. FOIA?
13 submitted, 12 resolved.
Okay, now we're going to get into our employee recognition. Today, we're pleased to continue our employee recognition program for the 2023-24 school year. The employee recognition is sponsored by Oak Park Bank, a Wintrust community bank. And Tim, do you want to start us off?
Sure. First, we'd like to congratulate Belia Delfiaco, English teacher. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Belia was selected as Teacher of the Month. And here are some of the highlights from the nominations received for that. Ms. Delfiaco's teaching style is supportive, engaging, fosters a comfortable classroom atmosphere without pressure. Her personal connection and assistance transform challenging subjects into enjoyable learning experiences. Congratulations, Belia. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Please.
I didn't really prepare anything, but I am grateful for this opportunity and the award. Very grateful for my students because I always say that I have just as much, if not more, to learn from them than they have to learn from me. So thank you for the opportunity.
You don't go anywhere. We have to give you things, take a picture. So that is for you. I'll give that to you.
Thank you.
Back to the wall there. We'll take a little photo.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
All right, next, we would like to extend congratulations to our Employee of the Month, Jason Hatchko, Education Technology. Here are some of the highlights from the nominations received for Jason. Mr. Hatchko's exceptional dedication and behind-the-scenes work in technology has been pivotal to OPRF AHS. His commitment, extending beyond regular hours, and his readiness to assist make him an invaluable though often unsung. Congratulations, Jason. Is there anything you would like to tell us?
Revenge. I just want to say this, thank you, everybody. I know that everyone appreciates everything we do, guys. And this just kind of validates everything that we try to make sure not only the staff, but the students, everybody here can work with technology to do the best job they can. I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. And I just hope to continue to help you guys out as best I can. Well,
No, we spelled your name right.
no, I just got
Jason. Yeah, we say Jason Hatchko, but actually we should cross this out. He's just Hatchko. Nobody knows his first name.
One,
so everybody knows.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I would like to extend congratulations to our volunteer team, Natasha and Neil Littlecheck. Here are some of the highlights from the nominations received from Natasha. Ms. Neil Littlecheck's extensive contributions to applause, from leadership roles to hands-on support for numerous events and activities, have been invaluable. Her dedication, kindness, and problem solving have positively shaped the performing arts experience. Congratulations again, Natasha. Yes. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful 4 years of volunteering on the board, fundraising for the performing arts, our wonderful performing arts departments here. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate the honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, today we are pleased to continue our new sustainability recognition program again this month. Starting this school year, we have recognized 2 sustainability champions, 1 student and 1 employee, for their exemplary efforts in environmental sustainability. Congratulations are in order for Jacqueline Bollinger, our student sustainability champion. Here are some of the highlights from the nominations received for Jackie. Jackie champions sustainability, leading both community cleanups through the cleanup give back organization and school recycling drives, inspirational, impactful environmental action, and a culture of waste reduction. Congratulations, Jackie. Is Jackie here? See Jack. Okay. So we will get that award to her. Audrey?
Thank you. And now to move on for our employee sustainability champion. And this goes to Catherine Craven, science teacher. And here are some of the highlights from the nominations received for Catherine. Ms. Craven effectively taught global warming chemistry, stressing its importance. Her lab and solutions-focused discussions reflect her thoughtful climate change integration into the curriculum. And is Catherine here?
She is.
And Catherine, is there anything you'd like to say? Please.
First of all, thank you so very much. It's a huge honor to be recognized in this way. Second of all, thank you for honoring sustainability. I really appreciate working in an organization where sustainability and looking to the future, since we are teaching the future, is elevated to such an important position in our work. And I appreciate your support of that. So thank you.
Two things for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, that's the thing.
That's right. I'll use it over. Thank you very much.
Got it?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we move into our public comment portion of the meeting.
All right, yeah.
We ask to limit public comments concerning matters within jurisdiction of the Board of Education to 3 minutes. This section is not intended to be a dialogue with the Board of Education. Response to time to any questions may take up to 2 minutes. Per Board Policy 2.230, public participation at Board of Education meetings and petitions to the board. The board will allow for 20 minutes of public comment as to each agenda item before the board for discussion during this meeting, with an overall total of public comment of not less than 30 minutes. So with that said, Lisa, do we have any public comments?
Mr. Arkin, we have 3 in-person public comments and we have 1 via Zoom. We're gonna start with the in-person public comments for tonight. If you're ready, our first speaker is Ms. Bertie Hines.
How are you? I'm back here again. Well, I am back here because I was sad when I picked up the journal and I had flashbacks of 30 years. Like Dr. Johnson, that was one thing that we talked about when we did the equity goals. I'm very concerned about the comments. I'm very concerned about the thoughts, and I hope the school board remembers 5 to 6 years ago how hard the staff, the superintendent, the students worked to make changes in Oak Park and River Forest, especially for the African American student. It has been years and years that we have tried, and finally we were applauded by the community, the superintendent, after this passed. So I'm asking, and I'm asking you to remember, and if you need some refreshers, please pull the files and talk to the different administrators who helped us with this. So I'm hoping this is false print, that this is not the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. George Bailey.
How's everyone? Okay, so your the instructions about questions, like I'm not interested in people answering questions. I just want to provide the questions for the discussion. So not looking for answers. I also wanted to say that I'm representing the Lynch group. We're always open to talking to people about issues such as this. So I just want to put that out there for the record as well. And I'm going to have to use my vision is. Lately, there's a predictable national backlash on the part of some Americans, yes, yet again, against the real and imagined economic, social, cultural, political presences and demands for equality, parity, and equity. And those are voiced by many African Americans in Oak Park and many Africans in the New World in the United States. I was concerned by the informal declaration communicated without public notification emanating from the very learning community that forged this strategy. I would like to share with you my questions without answers regarding the evolution of this surprising shift in position, aim, outlook, or policy modification. It's why if that feeling exists in this community. What is the rationale for the consideration of deprioritizing racial equity? what are your timelines and benchmarks for altering the prior strategies, a strategic plan in its dismissal? It's on the web. From 2023 to 2028. What are your timelines and benchmarks for altering the prior strategic plan? If one exists, why has it not been disseminated? By what metrics have been and consultations have you arrived at this situated location of deprioritization? What will be achieved by these shifts? In this announcement of, I call it DRE, reprioritizing, so forth and so on. Inclusive of administration and teachers. How will the DRE affect the lives of students and teachers? And just two more. What created the need to make these prior plans ineffective? How will DRE impact the new freshman curriculum? Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Our next speaker, Mr. John Blessing.
Hello, everyone. I'm representing the Committee for Equity and Excellence in Education. We'll be starting our 14th year in September, doing this advocacy in River Forest and in Oak Park. I might be one of the few witnesses in the room to speak to this who was there at the beginning. I was on the Strategic Plan Steering Committee in 2012 that set racial equity as a primary goal, not the only goal. I was on the task force on teaching and learning then, and again in 2017, when the plan was rebooted under Dr. Pruitt Adams. I also, this is not a resume, it's history that informs what I'm saying. I also was on the committee that drafted the racial equity policy, community effort, administrative effort, board effort, hard work. And I was also on the committee that drafted the procedures to make it work as best we could. That informs why C tonight calls for you to adopt the plan that's on the table, to recommit, as you did in 2014, as you did in 2017, as you should do tonight. You, or this district, has worked hard to make access for all to high status freshman curriculum to be committed. You've pledged in 2017 and continue to work to make sure this staff and faculty is racially and culturally diverse. You're to be commended. You've worked hard with the administration and teachers to make sure this culture in each classroom is safe, respecting, and welcoming, and affirming of all identities and all histories. The proposed strategic plan moves that kind of work forward. There's a lot more I could add. You've supported professional development needed to do that work. And it's been led by our great administration and faculty. Again, we see new efforts by this board to sponsor new and additional ways to advance equity for all children. Efforts that we believe can be made even better by staying on course and thoughtful, evidence-informed adjustments as needed. Adjustments as needed requires ongoing evaluation. What's working, what's not working, what needs to change. Despite the ominous political developments that Dr. Bailey referred to here and around the country that are seeking to denigrate and then erase any talk or commitment to equity, especially racial equity. We are all concerned, we're all frightened, but we will continue to act. So C and other racial equity allies in this community, and I don't speak for them, but they know me and I know them.
Mr. Duffy, can you wrap it up?
I'll
please?
wrap it up.
Thank you.
But ask you to commit to the plan that continues to prioritize the equity commitments, not just on the basis of race, but as the committees formulated both times, race was central, but all forms of inequity had to be addressed in order to be a just school. Thank you.
National Dismissal. Ms. Rita Getsi.
Ria Yutzi, can you all hear me all right?
Yes, ma'am, you can start whenever you're ready.
All right. I am a sophomore in high school. I want to say that I am absolutely aware of the privilege this school has and that I hold for even being able to attend such an attentive public school. But there is an issue that I have been struggling with this year that has also been affecting the people around me. And that issue is the school's attendance policy. I understand that in previous years there has been a racial disparity when comparing Black students' unexcused absences with white students. That there have been less Black parents calling their children out of school, leading to these students being more and more at risk of losing credits for their classes. However, the new policy in which in which our parents' excused absences count towards our 12 is I'm sorry. It's not fair to a lot of these students around me. I have been at risk of losing my credits. I am a student that has been facing a plethora of physical and mental challenges in these past years, from kidney stones to mental hospitalization, and this year I have been diagnosed with epilepsy. Not to mention the common colds that most people experience at least once a year. And I, in the student population of 3.3 thousand, am not the only one. My friend, for example, who has chosen not to be named but is in the same grade I am, has written about their experience. This is verbatim. I'm not able to get accommodations, and I can't get a diagnosis because of financial struggles, but I struggle a lot with anxiety and neurodivergency in school, along with issues in my legs. Due to Allstate, 2 mental health days have been used because of my chronic issues that flared up and walking was unbearable, so I could not go to school. If I am sick and I will have to come to school, that is more harmful to myself and disruptive to the class. There's nothing fair about that. Being present is incredibly, incredibly important to me. I never miss anything if I can avoid it, but due to these things, I have. Regardless, I've kept up in all of my honors and AP classes while being a very active participant in clubs, and my grades are very good. Despite all of this, I'm still near losing credit for my classes, and I should not have to sacrifice my physical and mental well-being for attendance. That was what they said. Now Ria, I created an online petition 4 days ago, and I have had 63 and counting school students who wanted to sign this petition only for my classes for a change in our attendance policy. There are many, and I mean many students in the school who have tried and failed to get 504s and IEPs. There are many, and I mean many students in the school who don't have the same privilege to have a parent that's as supportive as mine. And there are also many students that simply have parents who refuse to let their children get the support that is necessary. This policy may have changed the racial disparity, but it has also made a difference for students with disabilities, and not in the positive way. I have had mental days.
Yes, you're well past the 3 minutes. If you could wrap it up, and if you have additional comments, we'd be happy to, if you wanted to submit them in writing, happy to.
Yeah. Yes, I just have one more thing. I'm not just here to complain and expect you to come up with a solution on your own. I have ideas. I'm willing to talk about them, but it's just I have been forced to come to school feeling unwell. Last week I had to use my last mental health day because I had a seizure. And that's just not fair to students nor myself.
Thank you very much. Do you have any other public comment?
No, sorry, and that concludes tonight's public comments.
Okay, thanks everyone for their comments, appreciate them. And again, if there are issues that need to be addressed, we will address them within 2 weeks. The next section of our meeting is the consent agenda. To start out with, are there any consent items that board members would like to remove from the consent agenda? So, okay, here we go. Consent agenda items are as follows. I move to approve the consent agenda items. A, approval of the open and closed minutes of March 21st and April 11th. A declaration that the audio tapes of the closed session of July 2022 be destroyed, and that the closed session minutes of January 1st, 1986 through April 2024 remain closed except for the redacted closed session of October 4th, December 13th, 21st, 1983, and January 14th, 23rd, and 28th of 1984. Approval of personnel recommendations include new hires, assignment changes, summer hires, leaves of absence, resignations, and releases. C, approval of the February 2024 Treasury report as presented. D, approval of the February 2024 financial reports as presented. E, approval of the March and April 2024 check disbursements and financial resolutions, including the payroll resolutions for May 2024. The approval for the NIIPC RFP and rollovers as presented. G, approval of the 1-year extension of the intergovernmental agreement between Oak Park River Forest High School and District 97 for the provision of freshly prepared meals for the 2024 to 2025 school year. H, approval of the adoption and purchase of textbooks at the cost of $519,541 as presented. I, approval of the resolution to transfer funds to the capital projects fund. J, approval of the Decision Ed annual report renewal in the amount of $36,955. K, the approval of the increase to athletics and activities budget for the 2024 to 25 school year for a total of $31,562.15. L, the approval of the Board of Education budget for the fiscal year 2024 to 2025. M, the approval of the following policies for second read and action. Policy 6:250, community resource persons and volunteers. And finally, N, the approval of the Board of Education meeting dates for the 2024 to 2025 school year. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Bringles?
Yes.
Ms. Worsley?
Yes.
Dr. Livingston?
Yes.
Dr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Brisbane?
Yes.
And Mr. Arden?
Yes. Okay, next up, action items. A. I move to approve the strategic plan priorities as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
I believe I'll be voting no. So I'm gonna keep this brief. The plan was originally intended to be a 5-year plan. The pandemic intervened, so it didn't get fully off the ground. So I understand that. And I understand why it's sort of been extended, but we're now voting on approving it for 2023 through 2028. Without, I know the staff has been working on this, but the board is not involved in detailed discussions about this. So and you haven't convinced, so on priority 1. Specifically, the argument I made before, which I think still holds true, is, one of the public commenters referred to this as deprioritizing, and I just want to make it clear, I don't see it as deprioritizing. I think racial equity absolutely has to be a priority. I also think gender equity has to be a priority. I think disability equity, as that student commenter brought up, also has to be a priority. I think LGBTQ have to be a priority, and honestly, I would throw it in class. I would throw in a couple other things, and when you elevate one over the others, what happens is that then ends up driving what data gets collected and what gets presented, and what administration works on, right? So, for example, when I first came on the board and we were getting the DEI reports, I brought up the point, I was startled to find that, we were getting racial data, some gender data, and we were not getting LGBTQ data, which, I went and the administration's response at the time was that there were concerns with privacy, but I went and researched it, and corporations do gather that data, and there are procedures for it. We could be collecting it if we considered it, right? And we don't. It is, and similarly, when you have sort of much of Kimberly Crenshaw's article about intersectionality is centered on, but or at least sort of like she had a particular point, but where the conversation has gone from there has been about, it is often a matter of being aware of many intersecting concerns and weighing them. And I just feel like by stating racial equity at the beginning, it skews the weight. And so I don't know. And I think it has affected things in a negative way. And I would like to see that change. So that's one thing.
Yeah. And I actually agree, Mary, in your comment, and I will add a counterpoint, is that when you look at where we are in this country and where the issues are, it's always about race. It's always about particularly Black people. So when I think about intersectionality, you can call me a Black woman, but no one will describe me as a woman who happens to be Black. They will always describe me as a Black woman. And African Americans are at the bottom of our caste system in this country. And the issues we have in this school all tend to be primarily racially driven. And so when I think about putting this first, for me, it just sets up the priority of it's important that we don't lose sight of this. I see lots of talk that dilutes diversity. And it's broader, but you have to address what the systemic issue is in order to address any of the other issues. And so I see the plan does say, other status, other factors, we don't leave those out, but for me, it would be a huge mistake to take race out of it.
Other comments? Jonathan?
Yeah, I just first want to say I appreciate the perspective that you shared, Marianne. I think that I would also like to add to the counterpoint as well that the weight of the issue at hand, racial equity, and the legacy of the issue at hand is so wickedly powerful, and it's one that is unique to our the country we live in, and we're well into a couple centuries, but and change, and have done very little to meaningfully resolve that wicked problem, and I think that showcasing it, prioritizing it, and saying this is something we are, as a board, dedicated to pitting our will against in unison and doing the very best that we can, not because we're excluding any other, not because we don't care about equity in a intersectional capacity or from that perspective, but to just to acknowledge the enormity and the persistence of racial equity, of racial inequity in our country. It's a great responsibility and to attempt to grapple with this right now, and I think it's exciting. I think that we have a board right now that is I think we have great chemistry. I think we really are thinking alike and keeping an open mind going forward, and are empathic, and so I see great potential for us to get to where I think you are what you're looking. I mean, I'm hopeful. But I think that without question, racial equity, because of the legacy of the enormity as such a wicked problem is really good. So,
Marianne, I would respect your position and agree with that. You hear me now?
Yeah.
I just want to address process. Because I suspect that your objection about process is just born of a desire to be hands-on in shaping this, and a view that supported the board to be part to be engaged in that process. I go back and forth on that, but really where I come down is I think that everything in here, I agree with. So I admire the job that the administration has done in putting this together, and I think that it moves the district forward in the right way. And I think that in that case, we don't need to be engaged. We need to move this final done. I agree with priority one, where it is stated. I also I'm very happy to see priority five. This has gone into that. That's a really important priority for the district. So I want to get focused on They've largely, not succeeded to the extent that we should have in the past. So I'm very positive we can see that there. So I'm going to be voting yes. I strongly support this.
Comments, you know, this could arguably be really called strategic plan continuation 23 to 2028, because this is all based on the work done in 2014, where you have hundreds of stakeholders and you actually are doing a strategic plan. And then there's been multiple updates to it, but it's still been kind of the same four principles or priorities, now with a fifth priority. So this document is almost more of a mission and direction statement. And unless we were to go revisit that full process that was done in 2014, I think it makes sense to continue with this. And notwithstanding priority one remaining named racial equity, I don't think that precludes any of us from challenging the administration as we have been doing. You know, one of my big themes is the economic disparities and things like that. So I think we can still name priority one as it is about racial equity and you know, benefit from that statement of mission, but it doesn't stop any of us from challenging on the other aspects of all of our students are experiencing in school. The second point I would make is priority 3, item 1, about increasing our representation of faculty of color to 35%. The last time we talked about this, I noted that this is effectively a kicking a can down the road with the same goal that we had, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. So you may recall last summer, I was having some concerns about how we were reporting our staff demographics. I would just, you know, put the administration on notice that I'm really going to be asking for, as you lead into your personnel reporting in the fall, what are the specific strategies and tactics that we are doing to try to actually close the 20 basis point gap between our students of color and our faculty of color? That it can be hard work. Lots of other progressive districts are competing for the same talent. So I just, for one, will be super interested in hearing the details about that when it comes time.
So my thoughts on this are very similar to what Audrey had to say, and she probably said it better than I could ever say it. Our issue has been about race. We've identified it probably close to 20 years ago. We got serious about working on it probably about 8 to 9 years ago. And this is a living document. The work continues. The work has to move on. We're not where we need to be. We've made incredible strides and changes within the institution, all right, to move towards, you know, our goal of racial equity. And we need to continue moving forward, and it's slow and it's incremental, and that's one of the things that I've learned over the years. But we have broken barriers. We've done our best to take down and provide opportunities for all. And I will point out that racial equity is the one area where we look at, and it has been documented for years, where there is a gap, and that gap is predictable by race. And you know, this is not a zero-sum game. Because we focus on race doesn't mean that we're not focusing on other aspects. Right? As a matter of fact, when we passed our gender equity policy back, I think in 2018, we passed that policy well before, several months before we passed the racial equity policy. So that has been on our minds and in our execution of our duties here for a very long time. And it remains in, if you look at the strategic or the the Project Two plan in terms of the needs of some of our students for gender neutral facilities, for privacy in facilities. Those are all built in. There's built in part of one of the major reasons we're even doing Project Two is for the access of students that we don't have. We're not ADA compatible, so we know we have students that need access. And I don't think that by working with a priority of racial equity that is in the exclusion of any of the other work that we've done. And I think that keeping the name racial equity keeps in front the important work that we need to continue, because we're not there yet. And we still have a long road to go, and it'll go probably well beyond my tenure on the board. And we want it to continue. So that's why I believe and will vote for the recommendation of the administration on this strategic plan. So.
Well, Fred, I just have one more on priority 2 on the tactic. I know because of the state may change what tests they use.
Yeah.
If they go to the ACT from the SAT, so I support approving it with the caveat that once that's known, if there's a need to relook at the administration will bring back the new recommendations.
Yeah, the ability to measure growth is going to be affected.
Yeah.
So thank you. If I can jump in, yeah. There's just a few things I want to share before the vote on this. First, Marianne, thank you for this conversation, bringing up this question. It's a shame sometimes that when a question like this comes up and it engages a group like this in conversation, it immediately gets interpreted in some ways as a little bit of a binary, right? As if in some way we're talking about race versus other ways that equity is significant. And that conversation is a significant and important one to have. There isn't one issue you named when you were listing through the various things that you wanted to make sure we focused on in the school district that any member of my administrative team or I would say, no, we shouldn't be focusing on that. That's a right-minded, welcome challenge to what we are doing as a school district. So thank you for that. And that type of kind of healthy discord at this table is what the Board of Education is for. That's why we exist. I want to add, in addition to that, one clarity and perhaps a little bit of explanation for why this shift. Because if you go back to 2014, when we first looked at this, equity was the original title of the focus here. And then race was specifically added to it. And it was, there were a number of reasons for that. To suggest that it was just for one reason would be wrong. But one of the factors that influenced that conversation at the time that I don't think has been named yet was related to professional development that we do as a school district. And it's focused on the belief that by and large, all right, in a general sense, if you are somebody who looks like me, who is raised in environments in which I have been raised, and you are working in a diverse environment like this, it's really easy, whether you want to or not, to take your foot off the gas pedal of focusing on the persistent inequities that are there that are consistently racialized, as I mentioned earlier. And so the idea is to make sure that we don't allow easy out in conversations. Well, it's more comfortable for me to talk about this other thing so I can avoid talking about race, right? As I think about my practice as an educator, as my work as an administrator. I want to say, no, we're not going to give that out, right? We need to continue to talk about how race plays out, and we don't want to let our foot off that gas. Well, at the same time, recognizing that this isn't a zero-sum game, as you said, Fred, all of these things are significant and important. So that was absolutely part of the mindset several years ago, and it's one that I still hold on to and reads true in my own personal experience and with conversations I've had with others throughout my professional career. And this is one of those situations where I see here's a challenge from the board, and yet, embrace that challenge, but also recognize that this is the focus we need going forward. So, with that said, I don't think of anything else to share for the moment.
right, I'd like to call the question. We take a roll.
Ms. Williams-Lee,
Yes.
Dr. Livingston,
Yes.
Mr. Brisbane,
Yes.
Dr. Maharaj,
No.
Mr. Grandhorse,
Yes.
and Mr. Arkin.
Yes. Okay, move on to the next item, which is. Geothermal bid and pricing results.
Tony,
Tony's online.
he is online, will be here first, and he just popped on, so.
Perfect timing, Tony. Yeah.
Yep, I've been here. Yep, this, as we discussed last week, we had or at our last meeting, the results for the geothermal bids have come in. We have the, kind of all the little pieces that we've been discussing throughout this process now put together in the formalized contract and, ready to, now bring it forward for a, vote for approval. And, then from there, we would start locking in the bids with the contractors through Verigy, getting the equipment and moving forward with the geothermal that will power project 2.
Okay, is there any discussion? Anybody have any questions? Comments? Okay, then. I'm sure I do this right. I move to accept the bids and the guaranteed energy saving contract for Verigy. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Ms. Williams-Lee,
Yes.
Dr. Livingston,
Yes.
Dr. Maharaj,
Yes.
Mr. Grandhorse,
Yes.
Mr. Brisbane,
Yes.
and Mr. Arkin.
Yes. No, I think I need to read this. It says to accept and approve.
You already read it.
Okay.
You got it.
I
You
thought
read
I
it.
said it there twice. Okay. Next, we have a kind of a placeholder for board governance. I don't think there's anything that we need to discuss here. I prefer to do with board governance and the presence of town costs anyways. So,
Can I say one thing though?
Yes.
So on April 15th, I sent out the new norms and.
Right, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that process in 2 separate documents. I did not receive any email feedback, but, your option continues if you care to provide.
So it's okay to have feedback to those provided to Graham and to Tom. Because I'm sure we'll be discussing those in the very near future. Okay.
But if you email them, just email them to me.
Right, do not,
both of us.
not to the entire board, just to be one board member at a time. Okay, next we get into the election. It's that time of year. So we will be electing our officers. And we will start with the office of president. Now, nominations are now in order for the office of president for a 1-year term. And I call for any nominations for president.
Because he's not here to defend himself, I nominate Tom Kowski for president.
I second.
Okay, Tom Kowski's has been nominated. Are there any further nominations?
I would nominate Fred Arkin.
Fred Arkin declines. But thank you. Hearing no further nominations, I will declare the nominations for president are closed. I hereby declare that Tom Kowski is elected by acclamation and direct the secretary to record so in the minutes. Got that recorded? Okay. Office of Vice President. Nominations are now in order for the office of Vice President for a 1-year term. I call for any nominations for the Vice President.
willing to do it again.
I'm not so sure.
Okay. I nominate Audrey Williams Lee for vice president.
Are there any other nominations for vice president? Lucky. Okay, hearing no further nominations, I will declare nominations for vice president closed. I hereby declare that this Audrey Williams Lee is elected by acclamation and direct the secretary to record so in the minutes. So noted. Okay. Office of Secretary. Nominations are now in order for the office of secretary for a one-year term. I call for any nominations for secretary.
I nominate.
Tim Brandhorst is nominated. Are there any further nominations? Hearing no further nominations, I will declare the nominations for secretary closed. I hereby declare that Tim Brandhorst elected by acclamation and direct the secretary to so record in the minutes. Can you do that, Tim? We'll record it. Okay. That was probably the fastest little election of members in the history. Okay, now next we get into reports. We'll just go quickly through these. If you have anything to report, fine. If not, just. So let's start with iGov.
Sure, it's me. Sorry. Things that we worked on were ways to broadcast more widely openings for each partner's advisory committees so that we can do a little more, invite more community engagement, but also hopefully do some pipeline building since people serve on these advisory committees do often run for office. So we are trying to build out sort of, we're thinking about maybe having one page that lists them all, one website that we can all point to, as well as having our separate ones. Also one pagers for characterizing the role of all three committees. So I'll be working on that at O'Bara, but I think some of the other groups are also going to be trying to work on that. We also are trying to work on a basic statement for crisis situations, community communication, so that we have something clear and consistent that that boards can put out in that environment that explains to the public kind of where things are. And then we are, I think, not going to have a governance assembly in May. We are starting to work towards the fall, where we will be doing a, the standard kind of set of conversations about running for office, what's involved, etc. So all of this is attempting to streamline and make government more efficient in what first.
Thank you. Thank you. Community Finance Committee.
There's been no meeting. We're next meeting in June.
Okay. Culture, Climate, and Behavior.
We had our last meeting last week. As you guys know, we structured our meetings a little bit different this year. And so we asked the group in our final meeting of the year to just have a candid frank discussion. And we did that. It was great. Some terrific feedback about how the group felt about things that worked, things that didn't work. And we're starting our planning for next year tomorrow. It's not with the partners. Be well prepared for next year. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Apple met on April 2nd. It was the last regular meeting of the year, and they've been using the meetings as sort of resource meetings to provide information to parents. And so the topic was safety, and the campus supervisor of safety, Patrick Poe, provided an overview and answered some questions, and then talked more generally about that. The last Apple event will be on May 7th, and that is actually their scholarship ceremony. And so I'm actually out of town that week. I would really love to have at least one board member attend. I've talked to Greg as well, but just to show support. But they give out scholarships every year through their Appleseed program, and that will be happening on May 7th.
Sustainability.
So this thing was originally gonna be this week, and then it got bumped out to the 30th. And I'm gonna be on a business trip at that time, so I can't make it. I don't know if Kopsky's back from wherever he is.
I believe he is back next week, but I could be wrong.
I'm assuming you didn't have a
If
board
he's-
member though.
If he's not there, I'm happy to
Don't come in.
Okay,
I'll reach out to you.
okay, and then what was the date you wanted board member coverage for the Apple event?
On the 7th, and
May
it sounds
7th.
like, it sounds like Jonathan will be able to make it.
Yes. Okay, so you got that covered?
I do. Okay, next facilities committee.
So we had a meeting last week and it was really productive. We shared, the largest item that was on the agenda was to share the progress on our 10-year maintenance plan and how that dovetails into all of the work that we're doing. We got tons of good feedback, which is actually why you don't see the 10-year maintenance plan as an information item on today's agenda, which is where it was originally scheduled. We wanted to make sure that we took the time to gather that feedback, think about that feedback, and make the little adjustments that we wanted in the plan before we share that with the board. Likely at the meeting in the first meeting in May, the committee meeting, but we might do it at the regular meeting in May as well. So it'll be coming soon.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing is that it was a very robust meeting and it was probably one of the best meetings, facility meetings that I've been to. And there was just a myriad of suggestions. About the 10-year maintenance plan and facilities in general. And I think Tony did a great job of leading the meeting. And what I found really heartening was that we have a couple members of the general public, of the community on who were their suggestions and their input was incredibly valuable. Okay, we'll move on. River Forest Community Collaboration.
No meeting.
No meeting. Community Council.
Yes, so Community Council met last week, I think, keeping track of dates. And most of the conversation was with the administrative team providing a mental health overview. A lot of good information and a lot of good engagement and questions from the council members. And then very quickly just went through the meeting before that in March. The council had broken into small work groups to have discussions around ways that we can improve the council and make sure that we're meeting the priorities and meeting the purpose rather of the council. So there's a quick report out on that, and then there's more work to be done in that area.
Okay. Boosters. Let's be boosters.
There's been, they have not tapped board input.
Okay, applause.
Yeah, no, nothing
Nothing.
significant, everything, end of year performances are going along smoothly.
Alumni Association, I think our meeting is coming up. But I will point out that this trip to New York, that the Fine Arts Division took, that was funded, a good part of that was funded by financial need to the students who needed it through the Alumni Association. I don't know the exact number, but I think the number that was approved by the association was $10,000. So it was really the association stepping up, providing the funds that allowed that trip to happen. So Scholarship Foundation.
Scholarships are awarded next Wednesday. So with that, so congratulations to all of those students and their families.
Okay, collaboration.
The meeting was canceled. We're still trying to reschedule.
Looking at it on May 30th.
Okay. Oak Park Council.
We did a meeting, Tom actually shared, feedback from that meeting at our last governance conversation. So nothing new to add for that.
And superintendent student advisory council.
Yeah, I do have a little bit of information to share on this. So I met with student council yesterday to talk about the future of kind of student leadership governance and how they can have input into how we're functioning as a school overall. And specifically, I brought to them the ideas that this board has been discussing on, about potential student membership on the board. And they gave some very engaged feedback. They asked several questions from the maybe 30 to 40 students who were there. Really thoughtful, high level of interest. I didn't do a vote by any stretch, but I went on the, give me your take after all this. Probably we talked about 45 minutes. And I asked, so what's your take on this? Do you like this idea? Do you think this idea is something that could be valuable? And there was a real strong sense that it could be. A lot of questions, a lot of questions to figure out as to what that really looks like. But it was a good healthy conversation.
Okay, so that ends our reports, and our next and final agenda item is any future agenda items. Do we have any future agenda items that anybody's interested in putting up?
And I kind of want to know when the next strategic plan will actually be like robustly done.
The big plan?
Yeah, like, I mean, and if it's 2028, I mean, I just, like. Something to think about. I don't know if it needs to be an agenda item, but,
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Speak now.
I think sort of intrigued by some of the comments we heard about our attendance policy, and how that's affecting students, because in addition to what we heard tonight, I've heard a few other things about it. I don't fully understand our attendance policy. I'd be curious to hear a summary of it.
Anybody else? All right, in which case, I, Fred Arkin, move to adjourn at 8:57 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.